Yo, it's Bats. Welcome to the video that's going to teach you the basics of Riot's new game, Legends of Runeterra. I've seen many people ask or say that they don't understand how to play the game. So this video is going to help those people out. In this card game, there are two types of cards. You got your spells and your units. All cards cost mana to play, and the mana cost will always be represented by the number in the blue circle up at the top left of the card. Spells are cards that have effects but no stats, such as health or power. When a spell is cast, its token is shown in the middle of the board to both players, indicating that it's prepped. You can cancel the casting of any spell just by dragging it back to your hand before it actually takes effect. There are three types of spells. There are three different icons. The three types of spells are burst, fast, and slow. This basically describes the speed at which you can play them. The icon indicating which type of spell is always directly underneath the mana cost. It's also in the description of the card. So burst spells can be played at any time during your turn and take effect immediately. This means that their spell token go away as soon as you play it. It doesn't give your opponent a chance to counter that. It doesn't count as your turn. You can also play any number of them during your turn as long as you have the mana to play them. Fast spells can also be played either during or outside of the combat phase, just like burst spells, but they do not take effect immediately. These can be countered by your opponent or give your opponent a chance to play some other type of card. You can play any amount of fast spells during your turn as long as you have the mana to play them, just like burst spells. Slow spells do not take effect immediately. They can be reacted to just like fast spells, and can only be played outside of combat and if there's no enemy spell tokens on the board. This is like it's your turn and the first card you play is a slow spell, or it's the end of a round and the only card you play is a slow spell. It will give your opponent a chance to counter it, and it does not take effect immediately. Each round you are going to get one more mana than you did the previous round. Any mana that you do not use in a round will go into that mana reserve with the maximum of 3, and those are specifically used for spells in the next turn, or the turn after if it carries over. When you use a spell card, it's going to draw from that spell reserve mana first. There are two types of units. You got your followers and champions. All units have stats. That's your power and your health. Those are used to attack or defend your nexus. Your power is in the bottom left, your health is in the bottom right. Champions are usually a stronger type of unit. They level up throughout the game based off of certain parameters. You are only allowed to have a total of 6 champion cards in your deck, but each of them can be different champions. You are also required to have 40 total cards in your deck. Not 39, not 41, just 40. And each deck is made up of cards from 2 different regions. That's the basics of the cards. Let's get into the basics of the actual gameplay. The goal of the game is to destroy the enemy nexus. Each nexus starts with a total of 20 health points. When a game begins, 4 random cards are chosen from the deck. This is your starting hand, unless you choose to mulligan and replace one or any of the cards. I have a bad habit of just keeping my whole starting hand because it's all random. Each player will draw a card to start off each round. Each round consists of turns where players can play cards and answer their opponent with another card. You can play only one unit per turn. One player is always attacking at the beginning of a round. This is signified by the sword icon. The board itself is made up of 2 parts. You have your bench and your battlefield. When it's your turn to attack, you can choose when to put units onto the battlefield from your bench. You just drag them from your bench onto the battlefield. Or you can click and grab multiple and do it all at once. After you do this, combat begins, and your opponent has a chance to defend any of your attacking units with units that they already have in their bench. Once your opponent puts their units on the battlefield and ends their turn, combat will commence and damage will be dealt. Damage dealt is equal to the power of the attacking units, and the units normally attack each other at the same time unless there are certain effects to change that. Surviving units go back to their benches and retain all damage that is dealt to them. After the round ends, both players have passed. Now it will be your turn to defend. During your defending combat phase turn, make smart decisions so that your important units can survive. You want to make sure your Nexus takes the least amount of damage, unless you're running a deck where taking a little bit of damage here and there is okay. But I think that's it, guys. That is the basics of how to play Legends of Runeterra. I think in the next video I'm gonna do probably like the first 10 things you should do when hopping into this game, because the game doesn't really give you much guidance besides like a basic little tutorial to get you in the door. But if you found this video helpful, go ahead and like it, subscribe, and gently tap that bell icon so you get notified when I do drop the next one.